Good morning, students. As we have completed the syllabus and we have already gone through some revision for this chapter, but again, in the view of pre-board exam, I am going to give you certain short notes type of revision here. Life processes. The maintenance process of organized structure of living organisms to keep the organisms alive are known as life processes. As life processes are needed to prevent damage and breakdown, they need energy. There are 4 types of life processes. They are nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion. Nutrition is the transfer of source of energy and raw materials, that is food. Transfer of food from outside the body of an organism to its inside is known as nutrition. Respiration, acquiring of oxygen from outside and to use it in the breakdown of food sources for cellular needs is known as respiration. It is carried out in different ways. We will discuss afterwards. Unicellular organisms do every process by diffusion because the entire surface of unicellular organism is in direct contact with the environment, which is not possible in the case of multicellular organisms because the entire surface of all cells of complex multicellular organisms cannot be in direct contact with environment. Transportation. The food enters in the body at one place. The respiratory gas, that is oxygen, enters at another place. But both are going to be utilized at one common place inside the cell in cellular respiration. So they have to be carried to that place. The process of carrying food and oxygen from one place to another place in the body is known as transportation. Excretion, removal and discarding of waste, or removing and discarding of waste byproducts from the body is known as excretion. The nutrition, coming to nutrition in detail. The nutrition is carried out in different organisms, basically in 2 different types: autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition, it is carried out by photosynthesis. In autotrophic nutrition, carbon dioxide and water are combined to produce sugars. There are 3 events that are taking place in this autotrophic nutrition or in photosynthesis process. First event is absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Second event is conversion of light energy into chemical energy and splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen using this chemical energy. Then reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. These are the 3 events that take place in the photosynthesis. For these 3 events to take place, CO2 must enter inside the leaf cells, and after photosynthesis, O2 must leave from the leaf cells. Entry of CO2 and exit of O2, both together termed as gaseous exchange. It occurs by stomata. Stomata are the tiny pores present in the epidermis of the leaf. Stomata helps in transpiration also. Removal of water from plant leaves in the form of water vapor is known as transpiration. If stomata have to allow gaseous exchange or transpiration, they must be kept in opened condition. Opening and closing of stomata is a function of guard cells of stomata. In stomata, two types of cells are there, guard cells and companion cells. The opening and closing of stomata is a function of guard cells only, not of companion cells. Stomata open upon swelling of guard cells when water flows into guard cells. Stomata close upon shrinking of guard cells when water flows out of the guard cells. So when water flows into guard cells, stomata swell. When stomata swell, when water flows into guard cells will swell and stomata will open. When water flows out of the guard cells will shrink and stomata get closed. Okay, CO2 is taken through the stomata and O2 is taking exit from the stomata. What about the raw materials and minerals that are required for the development of body? Autotrophs take up raw materials or mineral nutrients from soil. Coming to heterotrophic nutrition. It is mainly of three types. Heterotrophic nutrition is mainly of three types: saprotrophic, holozoic, and parasitic. Saprotrophic type of heterotrophic nutrition. In this, the digestion or breakdown of the food takes place outside the body of the organism, and the digested material is absorbed as food. Organisms depend on dead and decaying matter. In the saprotrophic nutrition, organisms depend on dead and decaying matter. Example, fungi. Holozoic nutrition. Here, the digestion or breakdown of the food takes place inside the body of the organism, and the holozoic type of heterotrophic organism, it takes the whole food, whole material inside the body by killing the organism. Means it is not depending on dead matter, but it is making the animal or plant dead. Then it is taking. Whereas in saprotrophic, the saprotrophic organism is not causing the death of the organism. If the organism is already dead, then it is going and taking its food. Here, holozoic organism, it kills the organism and takes its food from it. Most of the animals that do it. Parasitic organism. These are different from saprotrophs and holozoic. They derive nutrition from plants or animals without killing them. Means they just stay on the animal or plant and take their food. And when they take the food, the animal or plant is not going to die. Okay, even sometimes it is unnoticed also. Right? So many bacteria, they do it. Ticks and mites, lice, mosquitoes, tapeworms, roundworms, leeches, all these things, they are all parasites. Tapeworms, roundworms, they are endoparasites. Leeches, mites, ticks, all these things are ectoparasites. Ecto means outside the body they are present and they take the food from the host. Whereas endoparasites means they are present inside the host body and take the food. These are all parasitic animals. There are some parasitic plants also. Cuscuta, which is also known as amarbel. It is a parasitic plant. In detail about these parasitic plants, when you come to +1, there you can understand. Amoeba takes the food by forming pseudopodia. Paramecium takes its food at only one specific spot with the help of cilia that are present on the surface of the paramecium. So, why we have taken amoeba and paramecium? These are unicellular animals, heterotrophic animals. The nutrition in unicellular heterotrophic animals is different from that of the complex multicellular animals. We are not going to discuss about the nutrition of all complex multicellular animals, but we are going to discuss about nutrition in humans. The alimentary canal or the gut, the mouth to anus, the entire tube-like structure that is present in our body is known as alimentary canal or gut. Here, mouth contains teeth, salivary glands and tongue. Each one has got their own specific role. The teeth help in crushing the food, and salivary glands release a specific liquid called saliva. The food is wetted by saliva. Saliva contains a specific enzyme also called salivary amylase or ptyalin that helps in the digestion of starch to some extent. And food is properly mixed after being crushed by the teeth. Food is properly mixed by the tongue. And food enters from mouth into stomach through esophagus or food pipe. Starting from food pipe until anus, the inner lining of alimentary canal, it exhibits rhythmic contractile movements. These movements are known as peristaltic movements. Peristaltic movements help in the smooth passage of food through this alimentary canal from one area of the alimentary canal to its next area of the alimentary canal. So, food enters into stomach from mouth through esophagus. So, peristaltic movements can be clearly observed in esophagus. In other parts of the alimentary canal, that is in stomach, small intestine, large intestine, we cannot that easily observe the peristaltic movements. So, many a times peristaltic movements are more oftenly referred as the rhythmic contractile movements that take place in the inner lining of a esophagus like that. But actually they take place throughout the alimentary canal. Right. Stomach contains gastric glands that produce hydrochloric acid, mucus and pepsin. Hydrochloric acid has got three functions. It kills the harmful bacteria, it softens the food, and it provides the acidic medium to the food so that the enzyme pepsin that is produced by the gastric glands acts on proteins of the food and it digests the proteins to some extent. Why acidic medium? Because pepsin cannot digest the proteins in other medium. It can digest the proteins only in acidic medium. And acidic medium cause the food to get softened, and acidic medium can kill many harmful microorganisms that are present in the food. Mucus, when there is no food in the stomach, still HCl is produced. This HCl is highly corrosive, so the stomach walls may get corroded. Mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach when food is not there up to some extent. But beyond that extent, we feel burning sensation due to the effect of HCl in our stomach. This is known as acidity. Whenever we come across such acidity, we take antacid, which is practically a base, so that both base, when you take base, it neutralizes the action of acid and we get relief. Okay. Pepsin it digests the proteins in the food. The muscular walls of the stomach, they help in mixing the food in stomach, and food stays about 4 to 5 hours in the stomach, during which the food will get acidified, softened, and proteins of the food will get digested to some extent by the action of pepsin. After the food is properly getting softened and the harmful bacteria are killed, the food will take its exit from stomach and enters into small intestine. Exit of food from stomach is controlled by sphincter muscles that are present in between the stomach and small intestine. The small intestine, it is the longest tube portion in the entire alimentary canal. Though it is very long, it is present in a compact space due to its extensive coiling. So, due to the extensive coiling, the small intestine is present in that compact space. The small intestine is little smaller in carnivores because meat is easier to digest. Whereas in herbivores, the small intestine is longer because cellulose is digested with little difficulty or slowly. So that a longer small intestine is present in herbivores. The final digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats is carried out in small intestine with the help of pancreatic and small intestinal enzymes. Before the pancreatic and small intestinal enzymes act on this food, the food that enters from stomach into small intestine is in acidic medium, whereas the pancreatic and small intestinal enzymes can digest the food only in basic medium. That basic medium or alkaline medium is provided by the bile juice that is released from the liver through hepatopancreatic duct into small intestine. The bile juice contain bile salts also. These bile salts, they break down the large globules of fat molecules into smaller globules of fat molecules, which is known as emulsification, which is equivalent to the action of detergent, like how detergent breaks the large dirt particles into smaller ones and cause their removal. In the same way, bile salts cause the large globules of fat into smaller ones, so that on the smaller fat globules, the pancreatic and small intestinal lipase will act and the fat digestion will be completed. Pancreatic juice contains trypsin and pancreatic lipase. Trypsin digests the proteins, pancreatic lipase digests the lipids. Small intestinal enzymes, carbohydrates, proteases, and lipases and nucleases are present. They cause the proteins to be digested into amino acids, lipids to be digested into fatty acids and glycerol, and carbohydrates to be digested into glucose, and nucleic acids to be digested into nucleotides. The final digested food is absorbed by the small intestinal villi, the finger-like projections of the small intestines that are specifically meant for the absorption of the final digested end products. The small intestinal villi increase the surface area for the absorption of the food. They are richly supplied with blood capillaries into which the food, the final digested food, will be absorbed. The unabsorbed food in the small intestine will be sent to large intestine, where large intestine also has villi through which large volumes of water will be absorbed, and the remaining food, undigested food, will be taking exit through the anus, and the exit of undigested food through anus is controlled by anal sphincter. Here, one particular point, dental caries or tooth decay. The gradual softening of enamel and dentine is known as dental caries. Many bacteria are present in our mouth. If food particles are trapped in between the gaps, the bacteria that are present in our mouth, they act on the sugars of the food and they release acids. These acids that are released by the bacteria, they cause demineralization of the teeth and cause gradual softening of enamel and dentine, with which tooth decay occurs. Infection of teeth may take place. That results in dental caries or tooth decay. Thank you.